Hello my friends and welcome. Let's go to Robotyne direction where Ukrainian army still propels forward. As you know, Ukrainian army went into the village itself, the village of Robotyne. There are severe defense lines that Russia was able to build. However, the Ukrainian army also performs the assault actions in this direction. As you can see, the gray zone of fighting already touched the main Russian defense line. This is the line where Russia built the Dragon T's and the anti-tank trenches, plus the usual infantry trenches that are located a little behind. To see the dynamic of the situation, let's check out the timeline. It was yesterday and it is today. So just today Ukraine touched the Russian main defense lines, but also it happened before over here. This advancement shows that there are plenty of the vectors of the Ukrainian attacks all around this area. There was also one more vector towards this area, but it's well defended, and for Ukraine it's quite hard to break through the Russian defense near to Kopany. Anyways, we see the main direction of the Ukrainian attack. It is towards the Tokmak town that is located on the main road also leading to Melitopol. Yes, the direction is straightforward all across the Russian defense lines. This is why it is the hardest situation out there. President Zelensky today attended the Zaporizhia region and he visited the army positions near to the front line. So we expect something new coming from the Ukrainian side. But for now, I think we should wait for the more long-range missiles that help Ukrainian army to target the Russian supply hubs. Ukraine already has the big progress in it because for the first time today, the less attacks from the Russian side were registered. We are speaking about the south part and also the eastern part of Ukraine. It means that they are running out of the resources. They cannot send them on time to the front lines. Plus, because of the successful Ukrainian landing operation in Kazachy-Lahyry, Russia was forced to send some reinforcements to that area. We have some update about the situation in Kazachy-Lahyry. Ukraine sent more reinforcements and the regular army soldiers over there. Just to remind you, at first this operation was conducted by the Ukrainian special forces that went through the training in the United Kingdom. They trained in SAS. Well, you may find lots of the information in internet about the British Special Forces SAS. I think they're the best out there. So with their training, I think Ukrainian forces increased their effectiveness on the front lines and conducting those special landing operations. It was also confirmed that Russia sent just the mobilized soldiers in that area. There were some experienced soldiers with Major Tomov. They went to Kazachy-Lahyry to save the mobilized soldiers, but it was too late. They were captured together with Major Tom. Plus, what is very surprising as for me, Russia has no tanks in that area, because all of the mechanized brigades were sent to Zaporizhia and to the eastern side of Ukraine to protect the Russian occupied territories. That is why they're in lack of the warfare basically. As you can see, Russia cannot disperse their forces effectively all across this very long front line. It means that there are some big spots that Ukraine uses. After the successful Ukrainian landing operation, Russia tried to send some reinforcements. They used this road to deliver their vehicles and also this one, but both of those convoys were ambushed. HIMARS help a lot to target the Russian supplies or the Russian convoys. As for Ruzzian, Ukrainian army entered this river and stopped for now, so for today there were no changes. About Klishivka and Andriivka, where there was the battle yesterday, we don't have the change in the military map. However, we understand that the Ukrainian army is in Klishivka village. We saw it in the yesterday's Russian propaganda videos where they show how their best tanks in the world attacked this village. But all of those tanks were lost by Russia. It seems like Ukraine found the method to identify the mines on the field. The mine's construction or skin is made out of metal that accumulates the heat during the hot daytime, and during the evening time it releases the thermal energy that might be identified using the thermal cameras of the drone. So here is the usual picture and this is the thermal camera image, showing lots of the mines on the fields, and for sure they're on the road as well. So the Ukrainian army may not only identify the areas where it's better to go with infantry or armored vehicles, but also we may cross-check the job of our demining groups. Alright, this is the Challenger 2 tank that was modified by Ukrainian warriors. You can see the top armor, we may call it like that. Yes, there is also the net as I showed you in my latest video, but here is the free way for Ukrainian crew to evacuate. There are also some meshes put on the sides of the tank that potentially may help against the cumulative shells. You might see those kind of the extra armor on the Russian vehicles as well. Yes, it looks ugly, but if it helps against the drones and other stuff, it is must have. This video was filmed by the Russian pirates, and how they board this civilian ship you can see Surku Okan. I told you about it around a couple of days ago. So Russia landed their helicopters with extra forces. They detained everyone on board. It happened in international waters, so Russia conducted the search. They were looking maybe for some sort of the weaponry or other stuff, but clearly it is the violation of the international law. The full video might not be good for this resource, so please check out my Telegram channel in the video description just below. You may also find the unique video of the Bradley. It was hit by the Russian tank but continued its operation normally. I am very surprised about the armor of this infantry vehicle. It is superb. Yes, we lost many of those, but they already saved lots of the lives of Ukrainian soldiers. What we have here are the vehicle losses for both of the sides for the last 3 days. It is unbelievable, but Ukraine lost one of the tanks and Russia lost 13 of the tanks, including their best T-90M, and we are not counting the last assault of the Russian army where they used 3 of the T-90s. They will be in the other report. Also, Russia lost many of the armored vehicles, much more than Ukraine, but this time they lost much less artillery than in a previous report. So totally Russia lost 41 of the vehicles, Ukraine lost 17 of the vehicles. But for Ukraine, unfortunately, there is quite a significant loss of the S300 system. 2 of the launchers and 1 of the radars, from what I understood, were totally destroyed. It shows that Ukraine is forced to move the big air defense systems closer to the front lines where they might be targeted by, for example, Lancet drones. Why the Ukrainian army does it? Because Russia uses the gliding aviation bombs to target the Ukrainian army. And without the Western-made fighter jets, were unable to target the Russian airplanes other than with those systems. Russia even published the video of the targeting of the Ukrainian S300 system, so here are 2 of the launchers and 1 radar. All of that unfortunately was targeted by the Russian Lancet drone, and I'm unable to show you the full video. I will post this on Telegram. Yes, unfortunately, those are the bad news for Ukraine. The United States Secretary Blinken asked Congress to give Ukraine more funds for the military supplies. We are speaking about $24 billion, I think, for this year. President Joe Biden already agreed that sum. Just for you to understand, Ukraine obtains the military help in units, not in money. The United States is producing more weaponry for Ukraine. They want to increase the shell production by 3 times, so that creates lots of the jobs for the people. So if someone says that it's very bad that America spends that amount of money to support Ukraine, no, it's not bad. Plus, USA has its own interests in Europe, and it's better not to lose it for Russia. It is the global geopolitics, and if America loses over here in Ukraine right now, it may reinforce China and Russia. And that is not good for the United States economy. Today there was the big military parade in Poland dedicated to the Polish Army Day, and there were lots of the armored vehicles, some tanks, and many of the soldiers. Maybe the idea for Poland is to show their army to the Russian aggressor. A very strange statement from the Russian Defense Minister Shoigu. He says that the main aim of this special military operation in Ukraine is to free the Russian war prisoners. They just found one more reason to continue their war in Ukraine. The more you fight, the more prisoners of war you have. It's totally illogical. But who says that there is some sort of the logic in Russia? Sweden to support Ukraine with more military help for $314 million. They will supply more of the bullets, of the shells, and everything to support the previously supplied equipment. Russia again targets the civilian Ukrainian infrastructure. Just last night, they aimed their rockets towards Lviv and Lutsk. Some of the residential buildings were hit, and unfortunately we have casualties. Also, they targeted one of the very important factories that produces the bearings. Yesterday I told you about the Russian training jet S300 kaput during the training flight. At first I thought that there was just a Russian trainee pilot who doesn't really know how to fly that airplane at first. He did some mistake and that's why the airplane crashed. But apparently there was the commander of the training base of the Adygea city in the Russian Federation. His name was Vadim Gurov and he kaputed together with the airplane during the training flight. Actually, there were two of the pilots on board of this airplane. One more was the chief instructor, Mikhail Lipatkin. He was traumatized because of the hard landing and was delivered to hospital. So what happened over there? The plane didn't aim towards the runway and touched the ground. Later on, it crashed into the navigation tower. Was it the pilot mistake? Looks like it, but we'll never know. Anyways, this is the huge loss for the Russian pilot training. Some of the official expert of the NATO Secretary General's office, his name is Sten Jensen, said that Ukraine may trade the NATO membership for some of the territories that Ukraine may give to the Russian Federation. The Ukrainian Foreign Affairs Office already denied that scenario for Ukraine, so those could be just the dreams of this particular guy. We have lots of the experts. Some of them are officials, some of them are ex-military, some of them are in the military, but I wouldn't recommend to trust anyone, even me. You need to cross-check this information, and Ukraine says no, we're not gonna trade the territories for the NATO membership. No, it's not gonna happen like that. My friends, and now please press the like to this video, and also if you want to support my job, there are some of the links available in the video description just below. Special thanks for my Patreon supporters and for sponsors of my YouTube channel. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.